Hi everybody, it's Peter Bird here from Optimal Nutritional Excellence, or ONE. The reason I mention ONE is that nutrition, or the importance of nutrition, is number one. If you can think of a clock, nutrition is your 12 o'clock. It's the top of the dial. Now, I was talking to a lovely lady today. Her and her family and 3 children have just moved to New Zealand from overseas. Nobody in the area. This is Nelson, New Zealand. And they are adjusting to the environment. So very much like a transplant, very much like placing an organ in a body, there's all this newness, almost like the environment is attacking this transplant. And anyway, that's how it can feel sometimes. So we talked today about the situation. What I always focus on, especially when life gets really hectic, when you've got, in this case, you've got 3 children, you're not sleeping as well as you normally would, that your exercise is suffering, that you're putting on weight, that your social connections have been severed. And in this case, we talked about the 5 pillars of lifestyle medicine. Without a doubt, when you transplant yourself or you've got significant change happening in your life, what you need to be able to do is focus even more so on your kitchen, because that's one place you can take control of. So by focusing on the kitchen, what I mean is focusing on your nutrition. And I say the kitchen because that is a place that is yours, that you are able to control, that you can control what comes into your kitchen insofar as the food that you buy and you bring in. And you can control what's in your kitchen insofar as what's in your pantry that you store in your kitchen, and you have a control over what goes out of your kitchen. Now, that's a really easy thing to say, and in some regards it is very easy, very simple. But when you've got all these pressures on life, what tends to happen is that as we get fatigued, from an animal perspective, that us being an animal, this human animal, we've got various aspects of us that are hardwired for survival. Our brain, our animal brain, if you like, our monkey brain, doesn't know that there is children keeping you awake. It doesn't know that it's a new environment. What it sees, what it perceives when you're coming under stress is that there is a bear at the cave door that is endeavoring to attack you. And so it mobilizes certain chemicals within the body, and this one's called fight flight. And so what they do is they are anti-sleep. They are chemicals that create an alertness. They change your thinking, and they prepare you to either fight or run away. But when you're in that sort of environment where you're getting sleep deprived, then that's what can happen. You can end up with this fight flight. And then of course that increases the issue of sleeplessness because it's releasing chemicals, epinephrine, norepinephrine, adrenaline into the system, which rev up and getting you ready to run away or to fight. Now, from a nutritional perspective, what happens is that as you are getting under stress, and your lack of sleep, and you're not getting exercise, you're not able to burn off these chemicals, because ideally the adrenaline type chemicals, they're preparing you to fight or flight, like I've said, and what ideally should be doing is burning them off by exercising, even going for a nice brisk walk, so you can actually burn off these chemicals. Otherwise, you're sitting in this chemical stew, and as I was saying to you earlier, that's anti-sleep, and it creates a stressful environment within the body. So what we need to be able to do is work with the body, understand the body a little bit. The first thing we need to do is focus on that first aspect of health, that 12 on the clock, which is nutrition. Quite simply, ideally, what we need to do is reduce down your typical Western diet, which is high in animal protein, high in ultra-processed foods, and increase your fruits and vegetables. So your leafy greens, all your colours of vegetables, your nuts, seeds, legumes, your whole grains, and your mushrooms. What tends to happen as we get tired and as we get fatigued and as we get stressed, we get drawn to high energy foods and low nutrient foods. So what I mean by high energy foods are those foods that give us a burst. So they could be your bottles of fizzy drinks, they could be your chocolate, they can be your highly processed foods. We tend to be more attracted to those because on a biological, physiological level, our body is craving those short, sharp highs of sugar. And it's generally doing that for a couple of reasons. One is that can be a sign of being nutrient deficient. So if we can talk about our cells in our bodies, and with the human cells, there's about 40 trillion of them. They're like little commercial kitchens, and they're Michelin star kitchens. So what they do is they take products coming in, and that's all the nutrient, everything you're eating goes into the cell. The Michelin star chef creates a meal from that, also draws from its pantry, from what it's been able to store, and then produces this meal. And the meal, if you like, it's another way of saying that's the energy that goes out of the cell and enables you to operate at your best. Now, if we are nutrient deficient, in other words, we're tired, we're fatigued, we're getting drawn to the high energy, low nutrient foods that give us that burst of energy. They burn off really quickly and they serve the purpose of being able to aid that fight-flight response. They aren't nutrient sufficient. They're not nutrient dense. So what happens is the delivery of products to the kitchen, our cells, the Michelin star produce that it should be delivered. So it's not getting the nutrients, not getting the minerals, the trace elements, the phytonutrients. It's not getting what it needs to create a Michelin star meal or really good energy. It gets this high energy, low nutrient foods, this junk food, if you like, and it'll make a meal from that, but it's not going to be a particularly good meal. And so what happens is that the energy that comes out of that kitchen to fire the human body is inadequate for optimum functioning. And so couple that with your lack of sleep, you'll tend to find that your energy levels will be starting to get lower. You may find that you're starting to catch every bug that's around. You'll find that your ability to deal with stress won't be as good. The last thing you want to do is to go out and exercise. Your body goes into energy conservation. What you need to do, ideally, is not focus on the exercise, not necessarily focus immediately on the sleep, not necessarily focus on these other aspects of health, social connections, stress management, risky substances. These are the cornerstones of health. You need to focus first and foremost on taking control of your kitchen, getting back to basics, and ensuring that you're bringing in produce into the kitchen that you can make whole food meals from. Ideally, high in fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, legumes, mushrooms, all your leafy greens. Create these meals, and they can be done really, really simply. My message here is that it's important to understand how our bodies work in the regards to what happens when we get tired, what happens when we get stressed, as we are living in a very busy world, let alone if we have come from another country, that we haven't got our social connections anymore, that we've got young children that are giving us broken sleeps, which is what young children do. We understand that when we are in that situation, we'll tend to get drawn towards these easy cook, easy make meals that are high energy low in nutrients, and we need to be able to swap that around. Quite simply, the best approach and the most important approach is planning. What I mean by planning is that be able to plan your meals ahead of time. You've got the ability to be able to go to the supermarket, buy whole foods. Now, we talked a little bit with this lady and myself today, fresh produce as opposed to frozen produce. Now, fresh isn't always best. If it's fresh, it is always best. From a perspective of how long it's been sitting in the supermarket, some of those products can degrade by 80 to 90% their nutrient value. And also, what it means is you'll cut up a certain amount of it and use it, and the rest of it might sit in the chiller or in the fridge and it degrades further. So buying frozen produce, buying frozen vegetables, frozen berries, they are easy accessible. They've been snap frozen from fresh, so the nutrient value is frozen into them. You're able to take it out of the freezer, you're able to take what you need, and they're often chopped up and ready to go, and then they can go back in the freezer again. So utilize frozen. Frozen's fantastic. From a nutrient perspective, frozen's fantastic. Frozen berries, frozen vegetables. Once you've got your head around that, Then, as I said earlier, it's about planning. It's about pre-preparing some meals. You can make a big bowl in the fridge with beans and onions and mushrooms and some toppings or dressings and have it there as ready for your lunches during the week. Spend a bit of time planning. If you plan to succeed, you will succeed. If you don't plan, you're by default planning to fail. So make it easy for yourself by putting a little bit of work in, by understanding how the body works, and by preparing some really good whole food produce that you're ensuring that you've got in your kitchen ready to go. If you do that, then your body will look after you. It's not going to stop the kids waking you up at night. It's not going to give you that social connections that you've lost because you've moved to a new town or a new country. It's not going to get you back out exercising, but what it's going to do is it's going to ensure that you'll get nutrient density so that you'll have the best energy you can, that your immunity system will be as strong as it can be, and it will aid in sleep. It will motivate you more to be able to go out and do some walking or do some exercise, and all that has a compounding positive effect. As with not addressing your nutrition, not addressing the kitchen, not understanding how the body works, it also has its ongoing negative effect. Things start to unravel. That's my spiel today. It's lovely to see you. It's lovely to touch base. This is one of my happy places sitting here talking to you. I really value your input and I really value your liking and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Hi everybody, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you could like and subscribe, that would mean a great deal to me. It means that we can get the message out a lot wider, and that's my mission, is to be able to provide simple, clear, concise nutritional information and deliver it in a way that's understandable and usable. Storm, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It was just for you. See ya.